Hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my booktube channel, Life Worth Reading. Today we are back with another Tarot Picks My TBR. This is the May edition, so I can't believe that it's already May. What's happening? Like what literally what's happening? I have no idea, but yeah, it's gonna be a new month soon. We're on the final days of April and it's time to pick my TBR for May. Before we start, I just want to briefly touch on last month's TBR, and so let's do that. Let's see how I did with my TBR last month to see if I need to apply any punishments for this month. Last month, my prompts were to read a romance, and I picked Act Your Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which I did read, so that one is out of the way. Then we had to read a book with a strong female protagonist or a strong female character, and I picked The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna, which I am currently in the middle of. It's the final days of April, so I will finish it this month still, but I'm currently, as of filming this, in the middle of it. Then I had the prompt to read a book with a beautiful cover, and I chose These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which I also finished. Then we had to read a book in a genre that I don't usually read, and I had to read Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, which I haven't read yet, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read it still this month, but we'll see what happens. Then I had the prompt to read a small book, which is under 250 pages, and I picked Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, which for now I have DNF'd. I read 30% of it, but some of the content was very, very upsetting to me, especially in regards to sexual abuse and child sexual abuse, and so I was not in the right headspace to read it, and I am forgiving myself for that, and so for now I have DNF'd it. Maybe one day I'll get back to it, but this one was one that I did not finish off of my TBR. And finally, I had the prompt to read like any book with diversity rep, and I picked Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, which I did read. So with that being said, technically I would have to add a punishment this month, but I have so many videos planned for May and I have so many other books that I want to read this month that I figured that I would just forgive myself this time and that I would not add a punishment. And so this month we're doing 5 card pulls and picking 5 books for my TBR. If this is your first time watching these types of videos, I do this monthly. I have my tarot deck, which is the Mystic Mondays by Grace Duong, and I basically do 5 card pulls from here. I have assigned prompts to each card, so you can see them in a Google Docs down below that I've created if you want to do this for yourself. And so I pick 5 prompts from the 5 cards, and I choose 5 or 6 books to read based on that. I think that's all that I have to say before we actually start picking the cards. Oh, and I want to add that at the end of the video, I'm going to talk also about the Asian Readathon hosted or created by Read with Cindy. And I'm going to talk about that because I have a few books for that I want to read as well. So stick to the end of the video to find out which books I'm going to read for the Asian Readathon. Alright, so like I said, this is my tarot deck that I use for these videos. It is the Mystic Mondays by Grace Duong. I love this deck and I will leave a link down below if you want to check it out or purchase it for yourself. I divide my deck into the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana. So here we have the Major Arcana and the rest of these cards are the Minor Arcana. And I like to do 2 card pulls from the Major Arcana and 3 card pulls from the Minor Arcana. So that's what I'm going to do this month since I am reading 5 books. So to get started, I am going to mix all of these and I will see you in a minute when we pick our first card. Okay, so now I'm going to pick the first card and the first prompt. I'm just going to divide this little pile in half and see what card it is. Wow, so the first card is the Fool, which means a free pick, any book that I want to read. For the Fool card, that means a free pick. I am so glad that this card came out first because I just want to get this out of the way. I am going to be reading King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I mean, everybody's currently obsessed with the Grishaverse because the show just came out and and oh my god, it was so good. And I have just recently finished the trilogy of Shadow and Bone before the show came out, obviously. And now I just bought King of Scars and I want to read it so bad. This is absolutely for myself. This is not for a video. This is just, I want to read this so bad because I am in need of more Nikolai content. And so I have to do this. And for my free pick, King of Scars by Lee Verdugo, absolutely. I am so ready for this. So, yeah. And so I'm going to mix the rest of the cards and we'll see what the second prompt for this month is. Okay, so now we're going to see what the second card is. I'm just going to divide this in half again. And our second prompt of the day is, ooh, the Devil. Wow, I absolutely adore this card. It is my favorite card ever. The Devil is to read a horror book, which I wasn't planning to do this month. So I'm going to have to pick one and we'll see what I pick. For the Devil card, which is to read a horror book, I will be reading The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. I've been hearing a lot about this book. In the last couple of months, people say that it's really good and people say that it's really weird and twisted, and that's what I like in a horror book. And from what I've gathered, I think it is about a woman that finds like a hole leading to another world, or like a subterranean world. Some people compare it to Alice in Wonderland, you know, like kind of like finding a hole and going through another world. So that's all I know about it. That's all I want to know about it, and I am excited to read it because I have no idea what to expect. So I feel like it will at least surprise me in a way. Okay, so now I'm just going to divide the pile in half and we'll see what our first prompt from the Minor Arcana is. The 8 of Cups. And any 8 means a recently purchased book. Then for the 8 of Cups, which means reading a recently purchased book, I will be reading Raybear by Jordan Ifueku. I just bought this book and it is for a video. It is for a secret TBR video. But nonetheless, I am really excited to get to this book. I have no idea what it is about. I know that it's a YA fantasy, but I cannot tell you the details of the plot or like an actual accurate synopsis. I have no idea. I'm just going into it a little bit blindly, but I am so excited for this book. It was a lot of people's favorite books, favorite fantasy book of 2020, and so I am really, really just excited to get through this and just to find out what it is about, because I really just don't know. Okay, so now I'm just going to split this in half and we'll find out what our second prompt from the Minor Arcana is. The 3 of Swords. And any 3 means reading a new author, so that could be either a new to me author or a debut author. Then for the 3 of Swords, which means reading a new to me author or a debut author, I am going to pick the book The Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives by Lola Shonwin. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but this is a book that I've been hearing a lot about, and I think it just recently came out. It is, from what I gathered, like a literary fiction or like an adult contemporary, and I have been really curious to read this book because I've been really into literary fiction lately. I don't know what's happening to me, but I've been really into it, and from what I gather, it is literally about the 4 wives of this guy called Baba Segi, and that's all I know about it. But I am really excited for that, and I have never read anything from this author. I'm not sure if Lola is a debut author or not, but I have never read anything from them, so I'm just really excited to get to this book, and that's the one that I'm going to pick. And our last prompt of the month is The Princess of Cups. weirdly, for the Princess of Cups, which means to read a new release, like this is the card that I'm most struggling with. I really just don't know what book to read. Like there are so many new releases out there and I really just can't pick one because I'm kind of useless in that aspect. So I'm gonna have to think about this one. I'm really just not sure what I want to read. Like what's a new release that I want to read? So I think that for this book, a new release, I'm going to read A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I heard about this book from Riley Marie over on BookTube that I love so much, and she absolutely adored this book and she completely sold it to me. And so I am really excited to read this book. It is quite short. I think it is 250 pages, so hopefully it'll be a breezy read for me, and I just can't wait to see what I think of it. It's kind of like a retelling of Dracula's Bride, but I don't know too much about it and I want to keep it that way, so yes. And now I want to talk about briefly about the Asian Readathon that was created by Read with Cindy. It's going to be a month-long readathon, all of May, but I will just be participating a little bit because I have so many books that I want to read in May, and I already know that I don't want to set myself up for failure. So I'm going to go through the 5 prompts, but I only have 3 books to read, so I combined a few prompts, and I'm actually not sure if I'm going to read the 3 of them. So we'll just see how it goes. But yes, let's go quickly through the prompts and I will tell you which book I am reading for each one. The first prompt is quite simple. It is to read any book written by an Asian author. And for this book, I'm going to pick up a book that has been on my TBR since March, and I still haven't finished it. So I just want to hold myself accountable and just finish this goddamn book. And that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. So as you know, it was in my March TBR. Yeah, that's it. And I read 20% of it and I just never touched it again. So I need to finish that book. And so that is a book written by an Asian author, R.F. Kuang. She's a Chinese American author. And I am combining that with the third prompt, which is to read a book written by an Asian author in your favorite genre. I don't think that fantasy is like my favorite genre, but it is the genre that I read the most of. Clearly, like that's a lot of what I do read. And so I am combining those 2 prompts to read The Poppy War. Next up, we have a book with an Asian protagonist. And I could have chosen The Poppy War here again, but what I really wanted to try to read this month is N.A.K. by Jenny Lee. And I have been hearing so much about this book since last year. They say that it's a really dramatic, fun retelling of Anna Karenina, which I haven't read, and I doubt that I will, but it just sounds like so much fun. And I know that Olivia from Stories for Coffee really, really loved this book, and also Janine from This Story Ain't Over. She also really enjoyed this book, and I just want to try and get it through this month. I'm not sure if I'm going to, but we'll see. And for the last 2 prompts that are to read a nonfiction book written by an Asian author and to read a book by an Asian author that's not US centric, I'm going to be reading Unfree Speech by Joshua Wong, The Threat to Global Democracy and Why We Must Act Now. So Joshua Wong is the leader of all of the riots that have been happening in Hong Kong for the last couple of years. And he has written this book, which is Unfree Speech and Why Hong Kong Must Act Now Against China, and why they must act to protect their own democracy. And a lot of you don't know, but I used to live in Macau, and so it is another region next to Hong Kong. It's a special region outside of China, but that has its own government, but obviously it's still part of China. And so I've been to Hong Kong many times, and all the riots that have been happening are really heartbreaking, and there's a bigger issue there. And so I bought this book and I just want to read it now, and it is nonfiction and it's not US centric. So that's another book that I'll be reading in May. So let's do a quick little recap, shall we? I will be reading from my physical books King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, Ray Bear by Jordan E. Fueco, Unfree Speech by Joshua Wong. And for the books that I don't physically own, I will be reading The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. I will be reading me already forgetting everything that I have. I'll be reading The Secret Lives of Baba Seki's Wife by Lola Shawn Wynn. And I will be reading A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and finally Anna K by Jenny Lee. I am setting myself up for failure, absolutely, but I will give my all this month to get through all of these books and also to complete a few books for videos that I have been planning for a while now. So please do pray for me that I can get through these books and that I have a good reading month. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the Google Docs that I have created down below to check out all the prompts for this Tarot Picks My TBR game if you ever wanted to do it yourself. And let me know what books you're reading this month. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and always remember that life is worth reading.